What if I told you underneath the mundane lies the monstrous, waiting to awaken? Imagine a small town as ordinary as any other, where life proceeds at its own unhurried pace. In this town lives Ronan, a boy with an unremarkable life, or so it seems. He's just like any other kid, playing in the park, doing his homework, and living a life of simplicity. But what no one knows, not even Ronan himself, is that his home is harboring an extraordinary secret. You see, Ronan's house is old, built on stories and secrets, its walls whispering tales of the past to those who listen closely. But the most chilling secret, the one that could change everything, lies beneath the house. Beneath the worn-out floorboards, in the uncharted depths of the basement, slumbers a creature from the darkest corners of Greek mythology. A creature, unseen and unknown, waiting for the moment to awaken from its peaceful sleep. Curiosity, they say, can lead to unexpected discoveries. In our tale, young Ronan, an ordinary boy with an extraordinary penchant for adventure, finds his curiosity piqued by the unexplored depths of his basement. This wasn't the typical basement cluttered with forgotten relics of the past, but a place where the air hung heavy with an unnameable dread, where the shadows seemed to pulse with a life of their own. Down Ronan went, each step echoing in the oppressive silence, his heart pounding like a war drum in his chest. The air grew colder, the darkness thicker, as if he was descending into the belly of the earth itself. The basement, a realm untouched by the passage of time, awaited its young explorer. And then he saw it. A form, grotesque and terrible, hidden away in the darkest corner of the basement. It was a creature from the forgotten pages of Greek mythology, its form a chilling blend of the familiar and the monstrous. Its skin, a sickly pallor, stretched over a skeletal frame. Its eyes, sunken pits of obsidian, gleamed in the dim light, holding an eternity of sorrow and rage. It was a sight that would make even the bravest hearts quiver with fear. But Ronan, in his young innocence, could not comprehend the magnitude of his discovery. He was fascinated, drawn in by the grotesque allure of the creature. His eyes traced the gnarled contours of its form, taking in the terrifying spectacle. The creature lay dormant, its chest rising and falling in a rhythm that hinted at a slumber as old as time itself. In that moment, the line between the ordinary and the extraordinary blurred. Reality melded with the stuff of nightmares, and Ronan stood at the precipice of a world far removed from his own. He had stumbled upon a secret, a chilling testament to a world shrouded in darkness and fear. Little did Ronan know his innocent exploration had awakened a terror long forgotten. And with that, the stage was set for a tale of horror and suspense that would unravel in the depths of a seemingly ordinary basement. The silence of the basement was broken, the peaceful slumber disturbed. As if an ancient spell had been broken, the air in the basement grew heavy and cold. Ronan felt it, an icy chill creeping up his spine, a sense of dread settling in the pit of his stomach. The once familiar space morphed into a den of nightmares. Shadows danced menacingly on the walls, each one seeming to harbor a life of its own. The basement, once a sanctuary of forgotten toys and childhood memories, had become a crypt of creeping fear. The days followed, marked by strange occurrences. The old grandfather clock in the hallway, silent for years, suddenly chimed at the stroke of midnight. A chilling wind whistled through the house, even with all the doors and windows shut tight. The family cat, usually indifferent and aloof, hissed and spat at unseen entities. And then there were the dreams. Ronan, usually a sound sleeper, was tormented by nightmares of a beast with eyes that glowed like embers, and a voice that echoed like thunder. Each night, he awoke in a cold sweat, the creature's haunting gaze still burning in his mind. Ronan's life, once marked by the simplicity of childhood, was now tinged with an undercurrent of fear. His laughter was replaced by silence, his curiosity by dread. The creature, though unseen, cast a long and dark shadow over his existence. The nights were the worst. No longer a time for rest, they became a battleground, Ronan against his fear. Each creak of the house, each rustle of the wind was a reminder of the unknown horror lurking beneath. And beneath it all was the unshakable feeling that the creature was stirring, stretching its ancient limbs after centuries of sleep. It was as if the house itself was alive, pulsating with a dark energy, a heartbeat vibrating through the floorboards. The terror that lay dormant was now awake, and it was hungry. The creature beneath the basement, once a mere whisper in the dark, was now a deafening roar in the silence of the night. The town was about to descend into a nightmare it would never forget. As the dreadful creature stirred from its centuries-long slumber, the very air seemed to shiver with a sense of foreboding. A low growl echoed from the depths of the basement, reverberating through the stillness of the night, a chilling prelude to the chaos that was about to be unleashed. Underneath the earth, the creature flexed its monstrous form, shaking off the dust of ages. It was a being of nightmares, a hideous relic from a time when gods and monsters roamed the earth, and it was awake. Its eyes, glowing with an unholy light, pierced the darkness, surveying the world it had been denied for so long. The first signs of the creature's awakening were subtle. A strange chill swept across the town, as though winter had arrived without warning. The wind howled with a strange fury, carrying with it a haunting melody that seemed to echo the creature's ancient song. The night sky, once dotted with the gentle twinkle of stars, darkened ominously, as if the universe itself was recoiling in fear. Then came the tremors, a slow rumbling that seemed to originate from the very bowels of the earth. It began as a low hum, barely noticeable, but it soon grew into a cacophony that shook the town to its core. Buildings trembled, glass shattered, and the ground beneath the town's feet seemed to waver uncertainly. Panic spread through the streets like wildfire. The once peaceful town was now a scene of pandemonium. People rushed from their homes, their faces etched with terror, their hearts pounding in sync with the earth's tremors. The creature's roar, a sound so terrifying that it seemed to freeze the blood in one's veins, echoed through the town, a chilling reminder of the ancient horror that had been awakened. The creature's wrath was indiscriminate and devastating. Trees that had stood for decades were uprooted as though they were mere matchsticks. The town's landmarks, symbols of its history and pride, crumbled under the creature's might, reduced to nothing more than rubble and dust. Fear and despair hung heavy in the air, a palpable cloud that seemed to choke the very life out of the town. As the night wore on, the creature's reign of terror showed no signs of abating. The town, once a place of joy and community, was now a desolate landscape, a testament to the creature's destructive power. The people, their spirits broken, could only watch in helpless horror as their world was torn apart. The creature had awakened, and it was claiming its due. As dawn approached, the town lay in ruins, a chilling silence replacing the chaos of the night. The nightmare was far from over, the creature was awake, and it was only the beginning. As the first rays of the sun pierced the gloom, one thing was clear: the creature had awakened, and its reign of terror had only just begun. In the heart of the chaos stood Ronan, the unwitting catalyst of this terror. Around him, the world as he knew it was falling apart, the eerie symphony of destruction orchestrated by the awakened creature. Yet, amidst the pandemonium, a moment of silence descended. It was the calm before the storm, the brief respite before the showdown. The air grew heavy with dread. Ronan's heart pounded in his chest like a drumbeat, echoing the rhythm of impending doom. The creature, an abomination born of nightmares and Greek mythology, lumbered closer. It was a grotesque ballet, the dance of predator and prey, yet in the face of despair, Ronan stood his ground. The boy and the beast, their fates intertwined, locked in a standoff that seemed to stretch for an eternity. The tension was a living, breathing entity, wrapping its icy tendrils around every soul who dared to watch. As Ronan stared into the eyes of the beast, the screen fades to black. What happens next, you ask? Well, that's the chilling mystery that hangs in the air, like the echo of a scream in the dead of night. Imagine, if you dare, the possible outcomes of Ronan's encounter with the creature. Does he fight back, armed with nothing but his courage and the faint hope of survival? Or does he succumb to the terror, the basement becoming his tomb, a grim reminder of the beast that lurks beneath? Perhaps there's a chance for escape, a slim thread of hope in the face of overwhelming darkness. But what then of the creature? Does it slink back to its slumber? Or does it prowl the world above, a nightmare unleashed from the depths of the earth? The answers to these questions remain shrouded in the shadows, an unseen future that is as terrifying as it is uncertain. Stay tuned, for the darkness has only just begun to stir.